Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to talk about the dreaded I word. You're probably struggling right now, but that I word's inventory, and it's something that kills a lot of businesses because they don't know how to manage it, and a lot of you probably aren't managing it. So we're going to give you the 6 reasons that we think you need to keep an accurate inventory and why it's important to your business, and all that coming up right now on Successful Contractor. So like many businesses, we just started accumulating stuff. We didn't have a system in place to track it. We just knew that we needed some of this stuff and we wanted to have it on hand. And so we ordered extra, and now we have all of this inventory here. But how much inventory do we have, you ask? I don't know. We have a guess, but I don't know. Number 1 is good, accurate financial reporting. So what we're doing, and what I've been having the guys in the shop here do the last week, is count all of the stuff. You'll see these yellow Post-it notes in here that'll tell us how many are in here, and we're gonna actually start tracking that in the computer system. So this inventory that's sitting on your shelf is impacting your financial reports whether you know it or not. I don't care if it's stuff that you brought back off a job. If you think you're gonna sell it to another customer later on, then it probably needs to be inventoried. Some people will call it a boneyard. I just have all this extra free stuff over here, but it's not really free. It's stuff that costs you money, and if you think that you can resell it to another customer later on or use it on a different job, it's something that you should probably track. Crap. I need 57 and I only have 4, and I gotta have this job done by Friday. How am I gonna get enough of these? Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever gone to the shelf and you're like, we usually have plenty of that, and then it's just not there? Well, having enough of the right stuff and knowing how much of it you have at any given time, that's reason number 2. Nothing is more frustrating than needing to get a job out the door and not having the right inventory on hand to be able to do that. Tip number 3, why in the world did I order 8 units of 6.5 foot posts? We haven't sold the last 12 units from 2 years ago. That stuff really happens. And if you don't want to have too much of the wrong inventory, knowing how much you should probably reorder is something else your inventory system can tell you. It can help you understand how much you've sold, your past inventory levels, and how much you've sold over the last 2 years, so you know how much, if any, to order. So you don't just say, well, I think we move a lot of that stuff, let's order some. And then come to find out it takes you 4 years to move it. That's another reason to keep a good inventory system, so you don't end up with a whole bunch of 6.5 foot posts that you'll never get rid of. Actually, we'll get rid of these. This is one of our top movers, but we do things a little bit different than everybody else because, well, we're different. Hey, guess what? We'll just take one of these boxes. They're both white. They both have red labels. They both have some stuff on it. We'll just pack one of these up, take it to the job. Wait, we don't pay attention to the fine print, and one of them is a 3-inch nail and one's 1 3/4 inch, and we don't pay any attention to that. So tip number 4 is making sure that we're getting the right stuff pulled, because when we barcode all this stuff, we can know what we're doing. If we put it in the proper system, we'll know that what we're pulling is what was actually needed on the job. So helping make sure we pull the right stuff for the job, not just go over here and get close and call it all good. That's why people use barcodes, because it can eliminate a lot of errors when you're pulling parts.
We did pretty good on the Johnson job.
Man, I thought we did a lot better on the Johnson job because the guys went out there and killed it as far as their hours are concerned, but on the material side, we fell flat on our face. We used way more material than I thought we should have, and I think it came down to damage, and maybe we just cut some things wrong. So we ended up using a lot more material than we planned on. And that's tip number 5. So job costing is the 5th reason that I would keep an inventory, so that you can track exactly what goes to the job, exactly what comes back from the job, so that you know your true job cost. Because there can be a lot of shrinkage that happens on a job site where more material was used than you planned on using, or damage happened and occurred, and that can raise your cost to do the job and lead you to think you were more profitable on a project than you really were. An inventory system will help you catch those errors so that you can reduce that shrinkage. So tip number 6 may be obvious, but what I see and what a lot of people see when they look around me is I see a lot of money. There's a lot of money sitting on these shelves. There's a lot of money sitting outside. There's a lot of money sitting on the floor, and we need to know how much money it is, because at the end of the year, a lot of people get into a position where they're like, wow, I made a ton of money last year. My accountant told me I made a lot of money, but this is one of those places that your money can be tied up and you not even realize it, because it can be tied up on the shelves. So you can make a lot of money, have no money in your bank account, and it's all sitting right here. So cash management is the 6th reason that I would make sure I have an inventory system, so that I can make sure that I'm not carrying more inventory than I need for my operation. And what that number is going to be needs to be a conversation between you and your accountant, or maybe you and your banker, whatever. But having too much inventory is not a good thing, because it's sitting there tying up your cash and could be hurting your cash flow. And if you don't know how much that is, then it's really hard to hit a target that you don't have. So to be able to plan for how much cash we need and plan your cash flow, you've got to know how much money is sitting on your shelves and in your inventory. So a lot of people are gonna wonder, what kind of stuff do we inventory? Well, here, we inventory just about everything. As you can see behind us, we're getting ready to outfit 2 trucks, and all those tools that are on that truck are actually gonna be part of our inventory. However, that's not part of our selling inventory, but it's part of the inventory so that we know how much it costs for us to put a truck on the road, and we know how much that truck, how many tools and how much value is tied up on that truck. But as far as inventory goes, we'll inventory things like bandsaw blades. If it's an item that we buy in bulk and we're planning on sending it out on jobs, then we'll inventory that. Marking paint for marking out layout on projects, we inventory all that, so that if they want some, we have an order quantity. We have fence signs in our inventory, we have keychains in our inventory, stickers. Basically, if we order it in bulk and we use it up over a longer period of time, it's showing up in our inventory somewhere. In Wyoming, we inventory all of our fuel. We have bulk fuel tanks, and so we inventory our fuel and we know how much fuel we used up on each one of our projects. So how carried away you get is going to be dependent on your individual circumstances, but here we try and inventory anything that we buy in any bulk and may use up on many different projects. So that's our guideline. So next week you'll want to stay tuned, because what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the hardware that you need potentially and how to choose the software, because the software is the most important part of the inventory management system. It can either make or break you depending on how you operate in your business. If you have a lot of parts that you need to combine to make another part, then that's something you need to look for in your inventory management system, which we can do. We can take 5 different parts, make a gate out of it, and it'll turn it into a different part, take those 5 parts out of inventory, and then add the gate into inventory. Some softwares can do that, others can't. These are the things that you need to be considering, and we'll talk a lot more in detail about things to consider when looking at an inventory system. Next week on Successful Contractor, we'll have all the tips you need to choose an inventory system and get that up and running in your business today. I'm Mark with Successful Contractor, and I'm serious about inventory. Until next time, you have a good dang day.